rolls on here on this Wednesday morning. We got days right here. Everything scrambled after what's going on this morning. We're scheduled to have Wade Gilbertson join us, Wahpeton head football coach, here in a moment, getting some technical things worked out on his end. Again, if you missed the story off the top, the big one of the day, that the Mountain West, according to Brett McMurphy from the Action Network, is reporting that North Dakota State is being considered for entrance into the Mountain West Conference for football only. That's the big story here this morning. So we've reached out for comment for both Matt Larson and Tim Polasek. We've not heard back yet. Sure, everybody is circling the ranks now that the story is out there. But as one email said earlier, and they're exactly right, if there's names attached to it, there's got to be some fire to that smoke. So we'll update with anything as the show rolls on. But as we mentioned off the top, it's a great high school football weekend that is on tap for us. We've got 4 games we're going to be televising on Friday and on Saturday. Saturday, we're going to bring you a doubleheader from Class A and 9-man. Friday, we're going to have 2 games, one from 3A and one from 2A. Wahpeton will take on Red River in one of the Class 2A semifinals. Our pleasure to welcome back to our show, Wade Gilbertson, Wahpeton head football coach, joins us as the Huskies get ready for a shot against Red River. It's great to see you. Just tell me about this season and being alive in the Final Four.
Yeah, good to see you too, Dom. Thanks for having me, buddy. It feels great. The energy at Wahpeton High School hasn't been like this around our football team for a couple of years. Our season, going into it, we thought we don't know where our win total is going to be. We don't know where our loss total is going to be. What we do know is that our schedule is full of very, very good teams, very big schools. We end up going 6-4 on the season. We started to develop and evolve as an offense and a defense. Those 4 losses that we had, they came to the other 3 teams that are left in the playoffs, and we all had to play them in the regular season. And the other one came to arguably maybe the best team in A or AA, and that was Kindred in the first game of the year.
Yeah, talk about that, going out and playing them right away. Granted, I know they're a class below you, but what was that to start the season with them?
It was a good test for us to see where our program was at. And it was a really good test to see what we needed to work on as a team to get into beating to be able to beat some of the big schools that are in our conference. Last year, we didn't beat any of the big schools. We missed the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. And so it was a really good test for us because we knew that they were going to be the caliber of team like a Red River or a Minot North or a West Fargo Horace. And they were good. They've got a number of D1 guys, a number of cats running around the field. And so we thought we measured up with them. We obviously did not. I'd like to play the game again, obviously, later in the season. I think we've gotten better and evolved as a team. But it was a really good test for us right out of the gate to find out where we were at, Dom.
I'm interested, where were things at? You lost the next week. So at 0-2, mentally, where were you guys at? Did you have to do some rallying at 0-2?
We did a little bit, but the seniors on this team have allowed us to stay on a path. They have allowed us to stay focused. They've allowed us to stay where our feet are at and not look backwards and not look forwards. And so my hat is off to those guys and the seniors, the leadership on this team. That next week after Kindred, we had to go to Minot North, long road trip, hot out. It was maybe their second home game ever. And we dropped it to them. We were tied with them 21 at the half. And there was not as many long faces after the game as you would think. Our message to the team after the game was, you stay on the path that you're on, and we will feel the joy of victory. And the seniors allowed that to happen. The seniors kind of took everybody else under their wing, and they showed up that next Monday to practice, and they worked as hard as they've ever worked. So, yeah, you're staring 0-2 in the face and you're looking at the rest of your schedule that you've got coming up, we could have had some kids that bailed. We could have had some kids that said, you know what, we're waiting for basketball season to start. But our seniors didn't allow that. And I give them all the credit for keeping us on that path and playing with the utmost urgency all season long.
You lost to Red River less than a month ago. How is that is it a good thing? You just saw him not that long ago to get him again now, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later?
I think that can be a good thing. Absolutely. You know, last week we played Valley City and we had clipped them here at home in week 3. That was the game where we had to come back after the 0-2 loss and stare an 0-3 in the face and come up with a big win against Valley City. And it was good for us to have played them in the past, but they definitely evolved a little bit more. We just played them a little less than a month ago, Red River, that is. And so, yeah, I think it's a good thing that we played them recently. We've been watching a lot of our game against them and a lot of their game against Forest on film. I don't know how much more they could have changed over the course of the last couple of weeks. And, of course, 10-0, they're coming into this game undefeated. Not much reason to change what they're doing.
Just the fact you're still alive, Wade, just give me the sense of what the mood of practice been the last couple of days and going up to Grand Forks on Friday to try to get a win to get to the Dome.
These kids have not let it creep into their minds. And that's part of us as a coaching staff and part of the leadership. What we're preaching to this team is we're going to take it a day at a time. It's a football game, no more, no less. We're not going to prepare any differently. I would say the only change that we've really made is now we have to practice under the lights because it gets so stinking dark so early. And so that's a little bit of a change. But our kids are able to handle that kind of adversity, and they're able to kind of push out all of those distractions because it's one of the best leadership groups I've had at Wahpeton. But it's also one of the loosest group of kids that I've had. So they don't get too high on themselves and they don't get too low on themselves. They have a good time in practice and they have a good time showing up and working every day.
Mike McCall and I have gone around the bend on Wahpeton and its placement in football. I think there'd be some people out there to say, well, wait a minute, what are you doing playing in that level? You've done this now for a bit. Is this because 2A is, to me, is a mess, Wade. I don't know who's you're playing Fargo schools, you're playing Grand Forks schools. What is the right solution in your mind for 2A? Is Wahpeton where they need to be, I guess? So let me start with that.
I will absolutely agree with you that it is a mess. And I guess I would leave it at that. But yeah, and Mike definitely, my athletic director for a number of years, he definitely has a viewpoint on it. And Dom, I've coached at Wahpeton for a long time, let's just say, and I've seen us go from AAA to AA, and then now stay in AA, and I've seen teams come and go all over the place. We have a hard time developing rivalries because of it. To get back to your original question, I honestly believe that the number that they cap it at between A and AA needs to change. I think that number needs to change. I think, what is it, 150 right now?
Yep.
I think that needs to be looked at, I think.
Because you're playing, I mean, Kindred's going to be up, Central Cass is going to be up eventually. Those are schools that are that seems to be more like-minded than playing Fargo school or a Grand Forks school or a Minot school, in my opinion.
Very much so, yeah. When we've got, we'll travel with maybe 30 guys. They might have 60 guys on the sideline that are dressed. And it's a depth issue as well.
No doubt.
We know football is definitely a numbers game. We went to Minot North, and they're marching on a brand new 11 for all their special teams, and we're marching on maybe one guy.
Yeah.
So
that was
definitely.
I was going to ask you, how many guys go both ways for you?
We have 9 guys going both ways. Yeah,
that's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah.
The mentality for a game like this is a quick start needed. Tell me about what for a game like this. Knowing you know them really well. What's the big key in your mind for the game on Friday night?
We're going to have to control the clock, and we're going to have to control the football. We're going to have to move the chains on them because if we're not able to, they're going to be able, I think, to be a little bit more explosive than we want them to be. So we are looking for, yes, a quick start, but we're also looking to control the football for as long as we possibly can. We had the lead against them at halftime here at home. And then we came out and gave up a couple of very, very quick scores on a couple of very explosive plays by them, and that kind of put the game out of reach. Even though we only lost by a score, it put the game out of reach for us. And so we have to limit their explosiveness, and we have to hold on to the football, and we're going to have to be able to move the chains.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Safe travels to Grand Forks, and good luck on Friday night, okay?
Thanks so much for having me, Dom. I really, really appreciate it.
Wade Gilbertson, head coach of the Wahpeton Huskies. They'll take on Grand Forks, Red River. That game is on Friday night at 6 o'clock, and we will have that game for you. That game is on WDAY2 on Friday night. We will also have Cheyenne's game against Bismarck. That game will be on WDAY Plus exclusively. We have Bison Wrestling that's on WDAY Extra that night, so that's why the Bismarck Cheyenne game is streaming only, but you can check out the Wahpeton Red River game. Again, that's on WDAY 2 on Friday night. Winner of that will play the winner of the Minot North West Fargo Horace game. The two newest schools are playing the winner. One of them is going to the Dakota Bowl. For Minot North, it's their first year of varsity football. West Fargo Horace, it's their second year of varsity football. That's a neat little deal. Side story of what's happening there in 2A. For another day, we'll try and solve 2A football because it's a mess. Look at those schools that are there. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour again, get back to our big story that the Mountain West Conference is considering North Dakota State for football membership. Dave Richmond on tap in our second hour as well. Back on Hot Mic after this.